Hello everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to another chapter of the Python beginners tutorial. Now we are on our chapter number 15 where we'll be learning all about list. Okay, so we will learn that how a list is different from a variable and also how you will be able to store different kind of information inside your list, how you'll be able to slice your list, and also different kind of methods inside list as well, which you can use to make your programming a bit stronger. So we'll not waste much time and we'll get started on this class of learning about lists. So here, as you guys can see, again at the same Python tutorial project, let's right click. From here, I'll click on new, and from here I will click on Python file, and I'm going to name this file as lists. Okay, and over here we will try to understand each and everything about list. So once I'm done creating this one, let's click on enter, and now I do have a Python file where I can show you guys all of this. So now, before starting, we need to understand what a list is. Okay, so in variable, you guys do have seen that inside a variable, we guys can actually store one single kind of data. But inside a list, we will be able to store multiple data. Okay, so this is an important data type which actually helps you to make a data structure which helps you to store data. And this is different because lists are basically modifiable. So we do have seen in variable that we are not able to actually modify a variable, but here a list can be variable. Like the elements inside that is also modifiable, and you will be able to change those accordingly. So for that, now let's try to make a few of the list right over here. So let me just type, or let me just make two different kind of list. Okay. So the first one I'm going to name as numbers. Let's give it up a space. Okay. So let's come here and I will write numbers. And remember that when you're typing list, instead of just using the open parenthesis, you need to use the square bracket. Okay, so once you're typing the square bracket, now I will just put out some numbers. Let's go with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And again, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down and I'm going to put this one as names. Let's give equal to sign. Let's open out the square bracket. And now each and every time I'm writing this string, I will come here and let me just type Mike. And now I will just give a comma. Let's give it up a space. Let's again open double quote. I will type John. And again over here, I will open double quote. Let's type Rachel. Let's come here. Let's type Wilson. And let's come here. Let's put Adam. And lastly, I will put Daniel. Okay. So as you guys can see, if you take up a look, now I do have two set of list. Okay. So here, the ones which consist of text or string, it is actually having these numbers. Okay, so now let's come down over here. For these numbers, I don't have any quotation, but over here, the one which I have text, it is actually surrounded by quotation. So now let's come here and over here, let's give it up a space. And now let's take all of this string and let me just show you guys about the index number. So let's come here, Control V, and over here, now again, I will just make this one a comment, and here, uh, it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so here you guys can see this is the index number of this particular list. So first thing first, if you want to print a list, you guys can come here, and now you guys can just tell that print names. Okay, so here you guys can see this particular variable, and if I just run this code here, you guys can see now the whole list is being printed. Okay, so over here you guys can actually do like that. And also from here, now we will also understand that how you will be able to provide the negative indices as well, or how you will be able to do that. And also we will learn about different kind of negative indices over here. Okay, so -6, and I will just come here and I will put -5. Let's come here, let's put -4. Let's come here, let's put -3. Let's come here, let's put -2. And let's come here and let's put -1. Okay, so as you guys can see, now I do have all of these things right over here. If I just go back, okay, so let me just come back right over here, and also I will just place it -1. Let's come here, let's just put out minus, and also let's place it right over here. And as you guys can see here, now I do have it for plus as well as I do have it for minus. Okay, so over here now, if you want to come here and if you want to define that only one element I want to print, so for that again, let's open square bracket, and over here if I only want to print John, then I will just type 1. And if I just run this, okay, so let's come here, and I need to make sure that this is a comment as well. Okay, so now it won't interfere with my code. So now let's run this one, and here you guys can see uh, I am able to write John. Okay, and the same way if I want to come here and if I want to print Wilson, so for that I can come here and I can just put number 3, and this is the index number for Wilson. Okay, so here you guys can see in the console I do have Wilson. So the same way over here I can use the negative indices. Okay, but from here as you guys can see it starts from -6. So if I want to type Daniel, okay, I will come here and I will just put -6, and over here now you guys can see that over here now I do have Mike. Okay, so now let's come here and you guys can see, or well, it actually starts from -1 from this side. Okay, so over here it will come as -1. Okay, so it starts from -1, and over here I will just put -2, and this actually works accordingly. Okay, so we need to make sure of that. Let's put -3, and over here you need to put -4. Let's put -5, and lastly I do have to put -6 right over here. Okay, so make sure of that once you are working. Okay, so let's come here, let's just put this one accordingly. Let's come here and let's move this out, and the same way I will just fix this one for a bit. Let's come here, and here you guys can see I do have the negative numbers right over here as well. So if I want to type Daniel, let's put -1, and now let's run this one, and here you guys can see now I do have Daniel because I'm working with the negative indices as well. So here also you guys will be able to work with slicing. Like if you do want to slice, you guys can also do it right from here. Okay, so for that, what I can do is I can just come right over here, and from here, let's tell that I want to type only one and number two. Okay, so for that, what I can do is I can come here. So I will just put one, then I will put colon, and I'll put number three because number three won't be printed. So if I just run this code now, here you guys can see now I only do have John and Rachel over here. Okay, so this is how it works. And the same way, if I want to print Wilson as well, so I will come here and I will just type 4. Okay, and here you guys can see that I do have the three names. Let's say I just want to skip Mike and John, and after that, everything which I have, I want to print that. So for that, now I will just start this one with colon, and I will just end this one right over here. Okay, let's say I want to just start from this Rachel. Let's say here it is 2, and now let's just print this one. And here you guys can see I do have Rachel, Wilson, Adam, and Daniel. Okay, so I do have everything right over here, and this is how you guys can basically slice. And the same way, if I want to have each and everything, but I want to skip Adam and Daniel, in that case, what I can do is I can come here, and first I will put on colon, and then what I need to do is I need to come here, and now I need to put the index number, which is 4, or you guys can also put -2 right over here. So any one you can use. You can use the positive indices. Otherwise, you guys can use the negative indices as well. So let me just put -4. Okay. Otherwise, let's put 4. And now let's try to run this one. And here you guys can see now I do have Mike, John, Rachel, and Wilson, but I am leaving out Adam and Daniel. Okay, so now if you want to reverse everything, okay, let's say if you want to reverse it, you guys can come here and you guys will be able to reverse the whole thing as well. So from here, using the slicing option, if you want to come here, and let's put this double colon, and now if you put -1, and now if you just play this, here you guys can see now the whole list is being reversed. So this is how you guys can actually work. Let's come here, and if you want to print Mike, you guys can also print Mike right over here as well. Okay, so now let's try to learn. Let's say from here, if you want to update anything. Okay, so if you want to update anything, you guys can come here. You need to make sure that you define the variable, and after that, inside you need to put the index number what you want to do. So let's say I do have John over here in the one index number, and now I want to modify John with, let's come here, let's put Larry. Okay, so I will just put Larry. So here now, when I run this code, you guys will see instead of John, I will have Larry, and everything else will all be the same. Okay, so I was telling that lists are basically modifiable, and this is how it actually works. Okay, so now as you guys can see, now I am not able to print this thing because I didn't give the print command. Let's come here, let's come down, and from here now let's type print. Let's open parenthesis and let's click on names. And now over here, if I just run this code, here you guys can see the name on my list. So I do have Mike as Mike, but instead of John, I do have Larry, and everything else is just the same. Okay, so this is how you guys can actually work over here. Okay. So now this is how you guys can update your element inside the list. Okay, so now we are going to learn about different kind of methods used in list. Okay, so I hope you guys do have understood till this much how you will be able to do the slicing, what is a list, and also about indexing in list. Okay, so we do have talked about all of this. And inside a list, you can have multiple data types. Okay. You can have a string, you can have a number, and also you can have a boolean as well. Okay. So now let's come here, and from here, let's try to use different kind of methods. Okay, let's say over here I do have two different lists, and if you want to combine both of this list, and after that if you want to print the value of both of this list in one single list, you guys can use dot extend, and after that you guys can just open parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis you guys can name what list you want to insert. Okay, so you guys can come here and you guys can just type numbers. Okay, so as you guys can see now, I'm telling that inside these names I want to extend the numbers variable as well. So once I run here, you guys can see I do have all of this name at first, and after that it is being followed by the second list which I have mentioned right over here. So you guys can actually mention this extend option. And after that, we also do have another method known as append. Okay. So using this append option, what I can do is if you want to actually add any new item inside your list, you guys can come here and you guys can insert it. So I'll just open my double quotation inside the parenthesis, and over here, let's say after Daniel, I want to add another name which is Nolan. Okay, so I'll just come here, I will type Nolan after the variable dot append, and inside parenthesis I'll open my double quote, I will write the name, and now let's run this particular code, and here you guys can see I do have the 6 names, and also Nolan is being added here in my list. Okay, so this is the work of the append option, and the next one is the insert option. Okay, so in insert option you do have to provide two values. So first let me just type the insert method. Let's open parenthesis, and first they're asking me that what index number do I want to place my name. Okay, so first they'll ask me that what position do I want to put. So I need to make sure where do I want to put it. Let's say I want to put it after John. Okay, so after John, what it is. Okay, so over here this index number is 1, this index number this index number is 0, this index number is 1, and after that I want to put in the index number 2. So first off I will provide that 2. Let's give it a comma, I will just give it up a space, and now I will just open the double quote, and now I will just put out the object as Donald. Okay, so I will just type Donald, and if I just come here and if I print, you guys can see now I do have Mike, John, and here in the index number 2 I do have Donald, and after that everything else remains the same. So this is the use of the insert method, and now the next method about which we are going to learn is that how you will be able to delete an item from your list. Okay, so we are going to learn that how you will be able to delete from your list. You guys can come here, and from here you guys can just type the method as remove, and once you have typed remove, you guys can just open parenthesis, let's open the double quote, and now if I want to remove Mike, let's come here and let's run this, and here once I print, you guys can see the mic is being removed. Okay, so now I only do have John, Rachel, Wilson, Adam, and Daniel. And also using this remove method, you guys can actually remove multiple options. Let's come here and over here. Now let's type Rachel, which I want to remove as well. Okay, so if I just type Rachel and if I run this one here, you guys can see that I do have this particular error. So only you guys will be able to put on one element. Okay, like you will be able to remove only one element from here using this remove method. Okay, so over here now I will just clear this thing out. Okay, so I'll just clear this one out. And now let's remove this as well, and let me just put dot, and the next thing we are gonna learn is clear. Okay, so I'll just put clear, and if you want to clear all of the data inside your list, let's come here, let's open parenthesis, and from here now let's run this code, and here you guys can see the list names is totally empty. Okay, so this is the method which you guys can use as well. And the next method we are going to learn is pop. Okay, so once you type pop, and now let's open parenthesis right over here, and in my names list you guys can see at last I do have the name Daniel. Okay, so automatically using the pop method, what it will do is it will remove the last element of my list. Okay, so now if I just run my code over here, you guys can see now I only do have total 5 values, and the last element in my list is automatically being removed once I have applied the pop method. Okay, so this is how it actually works. And also, as you guys can see, I do have all of this name, and over here if I want to sort all of this name in an alphabetic order, I can use the method known as sort. Okay, and let's open parenthesis, and you guys will see that all the names which I have over here will be sorted alphabetically accordingly. So let's run this particular list, and you guys can see that first comes Adam because A comes at first, then comes D, then comes J, then M, R, and W at last. So Wilson name is at last. So if you want to sort it by alphabet, you guys can come here and you guys can use the dot sort method over here as well. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to show you that if you want to come here and if you want to reverse it, let's say you do have a list, okay, and you want to reverse the whole list, that the Daniel will come first, the Adam will come second. If you do want to reverse the whole list, you guys can come and you guys can just type reverse. And now if you run this particular code, you guys can see that the whole list of names is being reversed. Okay, so here now once you have reversed this one, now if you try to put out the index number of all these things have changed as well. Okay, so yeah, I hope you guys do have understood till this much. Okay, and you guys do have understood about different methods inside list, you guys do have understood about list, you guys do have understood about indexes and list slicing as well. Okay, and now I'll just tell you guys that what is the difference between a list and a string. Okay, so over here as you guys can see, inside a list I do have multiple objects. Okay, so I can store multiple datas, whether it can be a string, it can be an integer, or it can be a boolean values. But inside a string, okay, so here each one of this is a string. Okay, so each one of this is a string, but a list consists of a lot of string. Okay, once you're creating a variable, inside a variable you guys can just store one set or one list or like one string only, but inside a list you guys can store multiple strings. So that is the main difference between a list and a string. So I hope this class was clear, you do have understood about different methods right over here. And lastly, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come here and I'm going to show you guys about the last method that I'm going to show you. So first thing, if you want to come here and let's say you want to find out the index number of a particular value. Okay, over here as you guys can see, let's say I want to find the index number of Rachel. Over here we already know that it is 2, otherwise it is -4 if I'm counting from the right hand side. So if I want to find that, I will just come here, I will just type dot, and now I will just type index, and after writing index, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open the parenthesis, and over here now I am going to type Rachel. Okay, so let me just type Rachel right over here. Now if I just run this one, you guys can see the index number is 2. Okay, and also if I just want to count it, okay, so let's come here. Instead of index, I will just put the method known as count. Okay, so I'll just put out the count method, and over here now let's open the double quote. So over here, the error is because I do have skipped one parenthesis on the right hand side. So let me just put out that parenthesis, and if I want to count what is the number of this particular string, so I'll come here, let's click on run, and here you guys can see that now it is named as 1. Okay, because now already I do have put out the reverse. Okay, so once we put out the reverse option, you guys won't be able to change anything. Okay, so if you do want to do again what you need to do is you need to come here and you need to modify the whole list once again. Okay, so over here this is how you guys will be able to do the counting according to the index number. So lastly, let's come here, and from here now let's open parenthesis again, and over here if you want to copy anything, you guys can come here and you guys can basically make a copy of a list as well. Okay, so I'll come here, I will just put names dot copy, and let's come here, let's just run this, and here you guys can see now I do have a copy, and if I want to get a copy of names, let's come here, let's put out names, and if you do want to run this, here you guys can see you can't take no arguments. Okay, so here if you do want to make out a copy, you guys can come here and you guys can just make a copy of all the numbers which you have. So again, if I just run this here, you guys can see now I do have a copy of this list over here. So yeah, I hope you do have understood everything about list here in this particular chapter. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter where we're gonna learn more about Python. So see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone.